Where you're going, it's Michelob. And by John Hancock Financial Services, meeting today's needs with a range of financial products. 14 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second quarter. The New England Patriots leading the favored Los Angeles Raiders 7-3. The missed 44-yard field goal by Barr, and Eason sets up at the 27. Good protection. He goes deep, and the closest player was McElroy, the safety of the Raiders. One receiver, Fryer, went to the inside, and Morgan to the outside, and Eason threw between them.
Both the wide receivers off to the right on that particular play, and they were trying to force that ball deep, get it deep. They're still trying to get that speed match against those Raider corners.
Hayes and Haynes at the corners, each with 4 interceptions this year. Lester did not make it to the Pro Bowl, and Mike Haynes was selected again. Howie Long right on the nose. And they try to run in that direction with Tony Collins. Jeff Barnes secures the tackle.
We asked Pete Brock what it's like to have Howie Long on his nose. Well, we lost a little bit of his answer, but there's Howie, who comes inside. One of the things that makes him so tough, and Pete told me this before the game, is that Howie can rip with either arm. He's not either predominantly right-handed or left-handed. It means he can go either way. You can't overplay him.
Eason on 3rd and 8. Has to eat it. Mike Davis. For the second time, they used Davis on a safety blitz, and it's worked on both occasions. The Raiders were second only to the Bears in sack count. They had 65 in the regular season.
Coming from the left-hand side of your screen, number 36, Mike Davis. And one of the defenders there leaning in before he should have taken his concentration. That's Wooten, number 61, the guard, who's the option pickup man. Did not see Davis coming, and it was a costly mistake.
Camarillo to punt. Fulton Walker back at the Raider 38. Wobbly boot. Walker at the 34. Ooh, juggles. Stays on his feet. And he's to the 47-yard line. 47-yard kick, 13 yards on the return by Fulton Walker, former West Virginia Mountaineer. Timeout, 12:48 remaining in the half.
Grace sure looked good tonight, didn't she?
Yeah.
So how much you making now?
Huh? I'm going 5.
You gotta be making at least 25.
I'm 5, maybe a little better than that.
30? Tell me yes or no. Are you making 30?
Yes.
30?
Around 30.
Got any investments? Any stuff?
Got the car.
That's not an investment. You got an IRA, life insurance?
Not really.
You're making 30. And you don't have anything like that. What do you think? You're 18 years old or something?
Fuel-injected Dodge Lancers come with optional turbochargers, and you can't expect that kind of power to stay put.
It's the boys' night out, and they're cruising around. The boys' night out, and they're doing the sound. They're ripping up, heading out, looking for fun.
Dodge Lancers. We just can't keep them in the showroom.
January's champions take to the greens. Only the best, only the winners will tee off of the Tournament of Champions next Saturday on NBC Sports.
I'll say one thing, Merlin Olsen. I would like to own one of the airlines that fly from Oakland, San Francisco to Los Angeles on football weekends. A lot of those fans are from Oakland.
You bet they are. There's still a loyal group of them that come all the way down here for games week in and week out.
Marcus Allen. His longest run takes the Raiders to the 39, and with it a flag. have been a face mask. 14 yards on the carry by Allen.
We have a 5-yard face mask foul on number 31 defense. It's first down.
So Fred Marion tagged for 5 more.
Right at the end of that last play, you see the hand reaching in by Marion, and you see Marcus's head snap back underneath that foul. Good vision by the official to spot that one. And Marcus is stretching his knee as he lays there on the ground. They're out to check him out, and of course,
Kenny King has replaced him in the backfield. Wilson. There's his first completion. It goes to Doki Williams on the near sidelines at the 21-yard line. First down, 13 yards on the play.
got to believe that Mark Wilson's saying to himself, all right, finally got one of those suckers in. Doki Williams able to get Lepet to turn away and then broke into the sideline. It was a fine play by the Raiders. They put a lot of pressure on you. They like to run those patterns deep, and they're a little out of sequence. Looks like Marcus is all right on the sideline. That's good news.
King will carry it for only 67 yards all season. Instead, it's to Hawkins. The big pullback from Nevada Reno, plowing to the Patriot 13-yard line. Larry McGrew made the tackle.
We usually see Frank Hawkins in his role as blocker for Marcus. Here the role is reversed. Number 73, Charlie Hanna, playing here on the same field with his brother Hog Hanna, gets a good block on that play on Don Blackman 55 to help make that run possible.
We'll see, of course, John Hog Hanna. Well, the Patriots have the ball. Allen is back in and leaping close to a first down. Appears to be about a half-yard shy at the 10.
I talked to Hog Hanna, and he said that he and Charlie were going to have dinner on Friday night. And I said, "You going to talk football?" He said, "No, it's against the rules." But he said, "I'm going to tell him he looks a little tired, and I hope he can take a rest while I go on to the Super Bowl."
Well, they both wear the same number, easy to spot, 73. There's Hog Hanna. Some have called him the greatest lineman ever. Charlie was played both guard and tackle, now settling into the guard position. It's enough for the first down, and the ball spotted just outside the 10, so Tom Flores' Raiders can get a first down without a touchdown.
Larry Kennan signaling from the sideline there as he stands next to Tom Flores. The Raiders went to a signal system to call the plays when Plunkett went down with his injury. Mark Wilson having the plays called for him. That's a first for this Raider team.
Allen doing that dance of his, looking for the opening. A flag is down. It's interesting that Steve Grogan was calling his own plays for the Patriots until he was injured. So the veterans, Grogan and Plunkett, called their own plays, whereas their replacements had them signaled in.
And I think, Dick, that those are two of the last quarterbacks, along with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks, that are going to have that option. That's a dying breed, the quarterback that calls his own play.
Holding number 65, offense, first down.
Mickey Marvin, the right guard, first Los Angeles penalty. Remember back when Paul Brown was succeeding year in, year out with the Browns, and he used the messenger guards, and everyone thought, oh, that'll never catch on, sending in your plays from the sidelines. Well, Brown, as was the case in so many areas, ahead of his time by a couple of decades. Now everyone's doing it. Steve Grogan. He was activated a couple of days ago as a couple of screws in that broken tibia around the knee of the left leg. You saw that injury against the Jets back a month and a half ago. After the penalty, wide open, touchdown, Hester. Jesse Hester. From Florida State, the Raiders' #1 draft pick, and Los Angeles leads for the first time. Barr's extra point down the middle. 53-yard drive in just 6 plays. Wilson to Hester, 16 yards for the touchdown.
Jesse Hester had some trouble early in the year working into this new system. Great speed, and you see right there some pretty shifty moves. That little shake absolutely froze Raymond Claiborne just long enough to let Mark Wilson get that pass off. Look at Claiborne trying to react, but he's too late, coming inside out, and Hester has the touchdown.
At the other end, Mark Wilson. Yeah, he knows the way and has to be pleased that he has his first touchdown throw this afternoon.
We talked about the 2 young quarterbacks making the big plays positively and negatively. Wilson is glad to see that positive touchdown on the board in his column.
Wilson, part of that tremendous line of quarterbacks to graduate out of Brigham Young University. Raymond Berry back to his notepad.
That's Ron Humanik he's talking to. Humanik has done a great job of working with the offensive line. They cut their sacks by 60% on the year.
Barr kicks it off. Short to the side, and on the wing it is Cedric Jones, toppled at the 24-yard line. So Eason and the New England offense on the field. Otis McKinney made the tackle along with Fulton Walker. Here comes Eason. Brother Bo is here, former star at UC Davis, Houston Oilers defensive back, rooting for his older brother. Patriots start from their 23. 10-7. Raiders lead for the first time. 10.5 minutes left in the half. Tupu fumbles, and the Raiders have it. Howie Long was in control before he went out of bounds. He's everywhere.
They gave you a look earlier at the impact players, Howie Long and Andre Tippett, and it doesn't take Howie long to make the impact here as he scoops that football up, and if he could have gotten himself up the sideline, he'd have had a touchdown. Let's see if we can see who knocks that ball loose. Looked like Rod Martin, number 53, reaching in, and then the collision right there. That ball already started to break loose. Stacy Turan put his head right on the ball.
So they start from the 17-yard line, a pickup of a yard or two by Marcus. Here's the handsome giant, Howie Long. Quite a character. He admits he's on his own planet. He said he's going to stay there for about 10 more years. When he retires, he's going to become a normal human being.
Well, the Raiders have defensively done this all year. They put enough pressure on you to force the mistake. And that's something that the Patriots have really played well. They have, last week against the Jets, 0 turnovers. It was the key to their win, I think. Today, they have made some of those mistakes.
And Tupu, who rarely fumbles, coughs it up on his only carry of the half.
What do you call those in tennis? In tennis, forced errors? Those are not unforced errors. Those are forced errors.
Ball at the 15-yard line. The officials talking with both sidelines. I don't know if the communications from the press box are out, if that's what that's all about.
Well, if it is, you'll see them take off the headsets on both sides of the field.
Or there might be a malfunction in the clock. Well, Mr. Markbright perhaps will tell us. Motioning at the big clock of the far right of the Coliseum.
And we're told that it's one of the clocks, I guess the clock on the right-hand side that is not working, so...
Tupu fumbled only once all season. And has it knocked away by Rod Martin today. It's 2nd down and 8 at the 15.
Quiet man, Raymond Berry, but what intensity he's brought to his team. Quiet intensity, but it is there.
Trying to add their 10-7 lead, the Raiders. Marcus Allen is wide open. But good reaction by Raymond Claiborne to stop him for a short gain of 3.
How often you see a player victimized, makes a bad play, and that energy and that emotion and that adrenaline is pumping. Claiborne comes right back and makes a big play there to keep Allen, who is so deceptive in the open field, from making any yards after he caught that pass.
Another whistle by referee Jerry Markbright as he looks at that clock.
Dick, I talked about the intensity of Raymond Berry.
There's a problem with the clock. We're checking on the clock.
Okay, we'll let you do it, Jerry.
30-second clock working.
Pete Brock talked about Berry this way. He said, if a guy with his integrity and honesty tells you he can win, tells you that you can win, pretty soon you start to believe him. And I think maybe that was the most important contribution that Raymond Berry made to this New England team, was convincing them that they could win, and then helping to show them how to do it.
And then when they did win, and even when he won some honors as Coach of the Year, not taking the credit himself. He said over and over again, I didn't carry the ball once, I didn't catch one pass all year, my players did it. Said he learned his football from quite a student himself, his father. They said that's where it all began. His father has been a highly successful Texas high school football coach for many, many years. Allen. Touchdown, but a flag is down. Beautiful blocking by the Raiders, but perhaps in the way they're reacting, it's against New England. Touchdown will hold.
Shaky start, these New England Patriots very quickly establishing the silver and black, establishing their dominance here in the first half.
So the fumble recovered by Howie Long at the 17. A couple of plays later, Marcus Allen from 11 yards out, and now the Raiders have moved into a 17-7 lead.
Marcus Allen behind the block of 27 Hawkins. Get a block inside Mickey Marvin and Henry Lawrence, and then he just puts it in the air to go over the goal line. You wonder why Marcus is open on that play? You get a chance by seeing some of the good blocks there, but right at the end of that play, that has to hurt to come down after being twisted like that and dropped right on your back.
Well, you've heard that expression, nose for the goal line, a desire to get in the end zone. That picture would be the illustration in the football dictionary. Less than 2 minutes, the Raiders have gone from 7-3 down to lead 17-7.
That last play. There's the block by Hawkins, 27. Really a nice block to help open the way.
31. Fred Marriott looking back as if to say, what was that, a guided missile going through there? Now the Patriots, after an early 7-0 lead, have seen the Raiders flex their muscles, and with 8:53 left in the half, need to do something themselves to turn it around.
Raymond Berry may have to change his philosophy a little bit, may have to start reaching for the big play, reaching for the big ball. They have played through the latter part of the season very close to the best, very conservatively. In this kind of game, especially when you're down by 10 points, you got to go for the big ones.
Barr to kick it off. Stephen Starring is the deep man. Well kicked. Starring will take the touchback at the 20, and let's pause for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KTVV TV 36 in Austin.
Kenberg, welcome to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where the Raiders lead the New England Patriots 17-7 in the final of the 4 playoff games this weekend. The 2 NFC games decided by shutout. The Rams winning 20-0 yesterday, and today the Bears over the Giants 21-0. Miami had to scramble from behind to knock off the upstart Cleveland Browns. And here, after the Patriots led early, The Raiders taking charge, and Craig James rumbling for 16 yards on that first down carry before Turan and McElroy, the two safeties, can bring him down.
Howie Long from his left end position working on big Steve the House Moore. You just see Steve's head right there. Steve has got to be about, what, 305, 310. They listed him at 285. There's no scale I know of that would register in that way, but he locked up Howie Long on that play and neutralized him.
First down across the 35. James again to the 39. Home field advantage. Of course, the very fact that a team is home in the playoffs means they've had a better record, Merlin Olsen.
They earned that. They really earned it, Dick. Beyond that, here in the Coliseum, I would not feel that this would have as much advantage to the Raiders as New England's home field at Sullivan Stadium would have to their team. Weather is not a factor. It's nice today. This is not a noisy crowd, in part because of the build of this stadium.
Good fake by Eason. Wide open is James. 40, 50, all the way to the Raider 37-yard line goes Jesse Craig James.
Well, you want a little razzle-dazzle. You want someone to go for the big plays. Raymond Berry pulling it out. Les Steckel calls the plays upstairs. A little bootleg and a rollout. It fooled the Raider defense, and James all alone makes a big gain on that play.
Here's the other end of it as James. He was 15 yards in the open when he caught the ball and then just sprinted up the sidelines before Jerry Robinson knocked him out of bounds at the Raider 37. 7 minutes, 22 seconds remaining, first half. Eason. Stanley Morgan, one-hand catch. Morgan was so casual about that. Didn't think he had it. He just reached out and hooked it as he went out of bounds. And watch Morgan, 86, a great start from Tennessee. And Eason scrambling, and Morgan had to ad-lib his way to the outside. And look at that. Hello. Oh, he did not have control as he went out of bounds. He was screened. His back to our point of view. It appeared that he had made the play, but shows you the adroit skill of Stanley Morgan. 2nd and 10 from the 37. Tutupu, he's in the open to the 15-yard line. Mosi Tutupu. He played here in this field for Southern California and blocked for Anthony Davis and Ricky Bell, Charlie White.
From the opposite side of the field, you'll get a chance to sense this play. Tutupu cutting back against the grain. Play started to the left, taking advantage of a quick slide by the defense. Tutupu with good vision and good movement gets downfield. He's usually a blocker, not necessarily a running back.
His longest run of the year was 11 yards. He doubled it on that carry. James breaking a tackle, and he's inside the 10-yard line. Rod Martin made the hit, and all you have to do is find a number 32, and you're going to see some offensive action today.
Extra effort. What happens after that first contact? I think that's how you measure the great backs, at least one of the ways. And James giving you that extra effort, giving you that surge, good leg power to get about 3 or 4 extra yards after he was hit.
2nd down and 4. 17-7 Raiders. Collins, nothing there. It appeared the hole that Collins wanted was totally shut off, trying to dart to the right and gained only a yard. Reggie McKenzie there first.
They love to run in behind the big left side of that line. Hog Hanna, Brian Holloway, 2 Pro Bowlers over there. When you put a back in behind them like that, there's usually room to run. But Reggie McKenzie did a good job of shutting it off from his linebacking position. Not much at all there. On a 3rd down now, lots of substitutions in. Critical play, New England offense.
Plenty of time remaining in the first half. They go with a the third wide receiver, Cedric Jones. He's to the right. Eason drilling it, incomplete. A flag is down. Howie Long might have been offside.
There was movement along the line. I don't know whether it was Howie or one of the offensive linemen. We'll let Jerry Markwright sort it out.
If it's against the Raiders, it's a first down for New England.
Offside. Defense. First down.
That means that Jerry Markwright didn't know who it was. And Howie says, who is it? Who did it? I want to know. Well, sometimes you just see that black helmet and that silver along the line. Maybe we can show it to you. Let's see who is offsides. Well, right there, and it looked to me like Holloway may have started to bail out a little early. I don't blame the Raiders for being upset, and Long, who was on Holloway, was complaining because of that.
He reacted to his opponent's backward move. Indeed, he was into that neutral zone and encroachment, but his argument, he was pulled in there. With the penalty, it's first and goal inside the 5.
What a nice drive. Strong drive by that New England offense.
But not for that last call, though. They'd be lining up for a field goal instead of first and goal.
Howie's still talking to those officials. Here's that shot again. Now there's the movement by Holloway. He cannot start back. That's drawing Howie out of his position.
That's an advantage of not being down in a three-point stance. It's not as obvious when you're pulling back. Collins wrapped up, no gain. Stacy Turan in his second year from Notre Dame. He has replaced Mike Davis now at that strong safety position. 30 Turan.
Two very fine defenses on the field. We saw the Patriot defense earlier in this kind of situation. In fact, after that first turnover, forced the Raiders to go for the field goal, kept them out of the end zone. Right now, it's the Raiders who are trying to do that to the Patriots. You saw Tom Ramsey there signaling. We'll look at that again later. Ramsey signaling in the plays to Eason from the sideline.
Seem more involved in his signals than we've seen some teams use. And he is dropped after a 2-yard gain. McElroy and McKenzie. That's a Big Mac tackle.
We mentioned that this offense loves to run in there behind Hog Hanna and Brian Holloway on the left side of that line. They get Pete Brock lined up in there. They got 3 number 1 picks with those 3 side to side in there, and they were just hammering on that play.
Timeout called by New England. With 3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the first half. Critical third down coming up for the Patriots.
Last year, Dodge made a very dramatic announcement.
Best lineman in all of football's history, professional history. We'll show you in a moment what Hog Hanna did on that play. And just a moment ago, we saw him burying somebody on the play previous. But, Dick, the secret to that play is the ability of this team to run out of that spread formation. Very few teams have the good running plays out of the spread formation.
Tony Franklin to try the point after. Bad snap, but a good job on the hold by Eason. And it's 17-14. Hog Hanna, number 73.
John Hanna, right in the middle of your screen. Here he is, folks. He's just going to step out of there and pull to the outside and lead that convoy. Here he comes. I don't think I'd want to get in his way. Look at it right here. Stacy Turan right at the ankles and takes him off his feet. A lot of folks can make a touchdown if you get that kind of blocking.
Well, a lot of folks have never thrown or tasted a cross-body block, and that was the illustration. Watch it again. 73, right down there, hitting and rolling, and Turan with no chance, and James stepping into the end zone to make it 17-14.
Will include 5 games.
That's the little forward handoff. Again, Raymond Berry has only had a year to get his offensive program established in New England. He was there for a short time last year, but he has only had a year to really put in the kind of offense he wants. And I asked him, do you have everything in? He shook his head. He said, no way. But it's more important for us to work on execution than it is to have a huge number of offensive plays.
And something else. Ray Berry is always thinking this year in the minicamp, he had all of his wide receivers work out one whole day as a defensive back. They practiced as a defensive back, went to the defensive back meetings, said, maybe you'll pick up something, just one little item that'll help you as a wide receiver understanding the men you're working against. Fulton Walker caught and fumbles, and who's got it? The Raiders. Oh my, Walker trying to break free from that initial hit and was really nailed on the second wave and lost the ball, but fortunately for the Raiders it winds up in Matt Millen's hands.
Maybe we can see this. Those of you who weren't with us early, Fulton Walker had a fumble on a punt that set up the first touchdown by New England, and that's just a fine play by Williams coming from the backside. Ed Williams, number 95.
Ed
Reynolds to knock that ball loose. He's the guy who plays behind Andre Tippett. He doesn't get much flying time out there.
Johnny Revert, 52, held him up, and then Reynolds made the hit. Marcus Allen trying to reverse, and finally has to eat it for a loss at the 15-yard line. Let's go back to the play that could have been so critical. Patriots almost coming back with the football.
Watching it all the way into the hands there. Now watch the hit. Now this is something else that Raymond Berry's had his team working on, is stripping the football, working to knock that ball loose. And you saw the arm rip in there behind. Boy, I tell you, it's tough to hang on to that football when you're being clobbered and somebody is ripping up underneath there with an arm.
Allen losing 4 yards on the first carry as Tony Eason checking with upstairs. Wilson. Intercepted. The Patriots have it at the 28-yard line. Ronnie Lepet has his second steal of a Wilson pass in the first half. Not well thrown at all.
Mark Wilson very upset, I think, with Dokie Williams, his receiver. He is throwing to a point on the field that somebody's... looked like Lepet
knew where it was going.
He knew where it was going much better than Dokie Williams did. And Dokie has got to drive for that football. That's a timing pattern, although the Raider quarterbacks are trained not to throw that football until that receiver is driving out of the break. That ball in the air a little bit early.
30-second clock shut down completely. Would you please shut the 30-second clock down? It's not operating.
Well, that's one way to take care of it. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the half, and the Patriots, after it appeared that the Raiders really had taken charge of the half, scoring 17 unanswered points, suddenly New England with a chance for the lead.
And another of those big negative plays by Mike Wilson.
Tony Eason with Robert Weathers in the backfield, along with Craig James, and that's James following Weathers and right into the midst of Rod Martin.
One of the things you have to know about this group in that black and silver uniform is that they don't quit on the field. They don't know how to do that. One of the big play people right there, 53, Rod Martin. I got playing with him in the dressing room the other day, put a hammer lock on him. He had me on the ground before I could wiggle. He's a powerful player, a big play linebacker for that Raider team.
2nd and 9. There's a comparison of the two lead runners. Craig James, 53 yards. Marcus Allen, 55, each with a touchdown. Whistle, and...
No, we don't have a 30-second clock, do we?
No, that's a 2-minute timeout. The clock had ticked down to 2 minutes, and the official timeout. There you see the signal.
Going to both sidelines.
So timeout here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The New England Patriots in field goal position, trailing the Raiders by 3.
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. It'll be an
expressway to your heart.
Since I hung up my size 19 sneakers, Dave and I get together for a few light beers from Miller.
And argue about who was the greatest player.
You were the greatest.
No, Bob, you were.
At least we agree Light's taste is the greatest.
Yep, light's also less filling, and you can't afford to get filled up when you're the great Bob Lanier.
Come on, Dave. You won the MVP and the championship. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
No, Bob. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Here at Hewlett-Packard, we believe that the best way to solve your business computing problem is to make it our problem. Because we know that whatever system we design for your company, we're going to live with it too. We never stop asking, what if?
Wait a minute. They have this incredible backlog of data requests.
You're right. What if we used the 3,000?
So much to talk about on NFL 85, and understand they're going to be chatting with the victorious Chicago Bears. The Bears will host the Los Angeles Rams next Sunday for the NFC title. That means that either Miami or the Raiders will be the host team in the late game. If New England wins, it will be at Miami, and of course the Raiders with a win will stay right here and host the Dolphins. Second down, less than 10. Fake reverse, and that will be an incomplete pass. It was a forward pass. Incomplete. Howie Long was right in the thick of things again for the Raiders.
Lined up right on Pete Brock. Down in the trenches, the two of them nose to nose. Boy, you can see every eyelash there, and you see why Easton had to get that ball off. Long in there, and Martin both in very quickly on him on that last play.
You used the expression a rip move by a defensive lineman. Was that what we just saw, where you just throw that forearm out, just try to brush that offensive player away?
This Raider defensive line very good at pushing with one hand and then ripping up underneath with the opposite arm.
Third and 10. Over the middle, incomplete. Aimed at the tight end. No, it was not. Stanley Morgan underneath was the intended target. Jeff Barnes broke it up. And here comes Tony Franklin with a 44 or 45-yard attempt that would tie it. Trying to take advantage of Lepette's second interception of a Wilson pass here in this first half.
See Franklin stamping things down. He's
Rumpelstiltskin out there.
Preparing the spot where he's going to kick from. Now watch him. He'll step back carefully after stomping that grass down. He knows where the ball is. The finger of the holder, Eason, marks the spot.
45-yard attempt, and it's good. We have a new game in Los Angeles with 1:45 left in the first half. Each side was 17.
Al Davis, conversations earlier, talked about his choice of opponents. The one team he least wanted to play in the AFC, the Patriots. As you watch Franklin's longest field goal in the playoffs, you might remember going back to Super Bowl 15 that these Raiders blocked one of his field goals. He was in a green and white uniform then when he was playing for the Eagles just before the half of that big game. I wonder if that was going through his head here today, remembering that play, which kind of helped to cement that Eagle loss. Well, here, Franklin has kicked the ball through the uprights to take this game back to even at 17.
Ronnie Lepette's interception leading to the tying field goal. Tom Flores in his 20th year of coaching, and with the Raiders as a head man in his 7th season, has a chance to win 100 games in 10 years, and only 2 other men have done that in their first 10 years in the NFL, Don Shula and John Madden. Flores has won 70 games in 7 seasons, so if he just maintains that pace, he'll get his 100. Franklin, short. Walker at the 9. Good coverage downfield for New England. Number 54, Ed Williams, down there in a hurry. Well, we'll will be pleased to be calling the championship game of the American Football Conference. Next Sunday, it'll be the late game of the doubleheader. The NFC game will be early, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 here in the West for NFL 85. Miami has his position secured. You can bet the Dolphins are rooting for New England today. They like to be home for the AFC title game. Raiders win, then Miami has to head west. Marcus Allen. Boy, you can look at the pads popping. Andre Tippett losing his helmet as he was in on that action.
Tremendous penetration on that play. Roland James, 38, is the man who goes in underneath it. We don't see him, but he cut down two of the defenders, and then Tippett put his hat right into the chest, and as it bounced away, he made the tackle. Boy, there's some hitting. You could hear that shot all the way up here in our booth, and that's got to be, what, 100 yards away, Nick?
Now, those are the headliners, the marquee men that we talked about back at the start of the game. Allen and Tippett, two huge stars. It's deep, and Lepet covering Doki Williams well.
Dick, I mentioned a moment ago that Al Davis really preferred to play either of the other opponents or many of the other opponents rather than New England. The reason for that, he did not like the matchups. That big offensive line of the Patriots, he was concerned about them and their ability to control the defensive line. Concerned about the speed matchups at the receiver position. And really, that was his thinking. He felt that they could handle Miami. He said, we've done it before, we can do it again. He liked the matchup against the Jets, but he was really concerned about New England, and you see why in the first half of this game.
A minute and a second left in the half, so it's a big third down play for Wilson. Otherwise, the Patriots going to get a chance at the ball. Wilson gives to Marcus, and he has the first down. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And one of the notes of importance in this first half, Ray Guy has not had to punt. That means, more importantly, Irving Fryer, the best in the NFL at returning punts, has been kept out of that particular play.
The downside to that, however, is that the Raiders have kept him off the field by throwing interceptions on a couple of occasions, and that is not a happy note. But right now, you have a sense that if there is a confidence balance in this game, and I'm sure there is, that at some point in the game, if it stayed this tight, it might come down to who has had the most experience in this kind of game. And that certainly would favor the Los Angeles Raiders.
Jerry Mark right again. There's some problems with the clock. 47 seconds showing and waiting patiently. Marcus Allen, just to update his statistics with that last run. Allen now has 72 yards in the half. Allen, along with leading the NFL, the first ever Raider to win the rushing title in the National Football League, setting a record for most total yards in a season, and also 9 consecutive 100-yard games. That ties Walter Payton's record set earlier in this same season. Marcus Allen ready to jump back on stage when we return.
Where you going? It's Michelob.
This is it. Opening night.
Brian, party of 2?
You're on your way to the top.
The flavor's just great.
No other beer is brewed and aged like exceptionally smooth Michelob.
Table for 2?
Oh, that'll be about 45 minutes.
We did it.
Where you going? It's Michelob.
As a senior for Southern California, Allen rushed for 2,342 yards in winning the Heisman Award. He was a great star at San Diego High School, and in his 4th season in the NFL, voted the most valuable player in this league. I mean, he just, wherever he's been since his youth, Allen has brought greatness to a team. 47 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, he brings greatness with him. He arrived to join an organization that has kind of set its own standards.
The reason we've had several delays here in the first half that the clocks just have not functioned properly, and that's been to the frustration of Jerry Markbright, the referee. We don't know if that 47-second, well, the 30-second clocks were turned off long ago. We don't know if the 47 is an official time. Here comes Tippett. And the throw to Christensen. And Tippett forced Wilson to throw hurriedly.
safety, the man that was covering on that play. And you'll see him as he comes out to join Christensen on this play. Todd working to the outside. Roland James trying to get over there. The ball well behind him. I think Mark may have been throwing. Ooh, look at a little bump right at the back there. You saw number 60. That's Garen Veras, who had such a big week last week with 3 sacks against the Jets.
Second down and long. Christensen. And he's bumped out of bounds at the 34. That's very close to field goal range now for Chris Barr, and plenty of time.
Todd Christensen, 3 years he's been over 80 catches. What an amazing record of consistency for this young man. Pass on the last time for Mark Wilson was not on target. You can't throw that one any more perfectly.
There's a man drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and Mike Ditka, then an assistant coach with the Cowboys, tried to make him into a tight end. He said, no, I won't play that position. I want to be a running back, and failed with the Cowboys, and now a Pro Bowl star at that position with the Raiders. Allen twisting and turning to the 23. 10 more yards for Allen. Timeout, 29 seconds left.
Body control so important. Allen jumped right over the top of Steve Nelson on that last play. Watch the penetration by Steve Nelson, number 57. He dives right there, and Allen just picks up his body and lifts up over the top. Now that is amazing, to be concentrating on what is opening up, what's ahead of you, to still have that kind of presence and that kind of body control.
You know, he's like so many great backs. Gale Sayers had it, going way back. Doak Walker had it. The players that never seem to get hit hard. I mean, no matter what position Allen is in, you never really seem to get a real clean shot that really nail him hard. Well, golf is around the corner. It's a nice way to start the 86 Golf Tour. That tournament used to be later in the season. This is the reward to all the champions of tournaments in 85, and this is how they'll start 1986 from down in La Costa. Don't forget, the final round is on Saturday. They'll begin on Wednesday. So Saturday, you'll see the final round at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, part of a sports doubleheader, the 40th annual Hula Bowl to follow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So a big sports Saturday on NBC, and of course on Sunday, we'll be featuring the AFC Championship game, Miami against the winner of this one. It's tied at 17, 29 seconds remaining. First down, Raiders. Good protection. And it's Todd Christensen battling to the 15-yard line. Timeout, and that is the last timeout for the Raiders, we believe.
Todd Christensen, I was asking some of the coaches about the patterns he runs, and very often Todd's patterns you can't chart. You see there why you can't do it, because his philosophy, just get open. Now, particularly on that play, which was a delay, faking the block on Tippett, and then at the last moment rolling to the outside. I believe he was probably a secondary receiver on that particular play.
Perhaps one of the timeouts earlier that we had charged to the Raiders was a timeout because of the clock malfunctioning. I believe now the word is that the Raiders still have 1 timeout left with 20 seconds remaining.
Well, that being the case, you better believe that they'll go for the score here and then take a chance after that to get the field goal. Good protection on that last play. This Raider offensive line, and especially since they put Don Mosbar in there at center, have really done a good job of stabilizing the offense and doing a much better job of protecting Mark Wilson.
This drive now has taken the Raiders inside the Patriot 15. 2nd and 2. Wilson. Closest man was Frank Hawkins, and he had a couple of white jerseys around him. 15 seconds left in the half.
Well, I think you'll see another shot at the end zone. There's no sense quitting now. Plenty of time. You still got your timeout, so you can stop the clock. Wilson's choices were not there. No one open. Good coverage, good protection on the receivers by the New England secondary, so he threw it away.
4 completions to his teammates, and 2 have gone to the Patriots. Chris Barr, if he does have a field goal chance, it'll be a short one. 3rd and 2. And Marcus Allen, covered by Steve Nelson. And Wilson, under pressure, had to dump it off, and with 10 seconds left, number 10 will come in, Chris Barr, for the field goal.
The heat was on. Both outside linebackers, Blackman and Tippett, coming hard. Although Wilson was able to step up, he could feel the pressure, and he threw it away.
Barr's third attempt of the half. He was good from 29. He missed from 44. This one will be 32 yards. And the Raiders have the lead. Impressive drive, but a frustrating end for Los Angeles. They certainly thought they'd get 7 out of that and had to settle for the 3, and a 20-17 lead with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
Quarterback coach Larry Kennan and Tom Flores there to talk to Mark as he comes off the field to ask what he was seeing. Very often, you know, it's interesting, Dick. You come off the field, you're charged with emotion. The coach will say, "What happened out there?" You tell him what you think happened. Then you go and look at the film and you say, "Hey, that wasn't it at all." Very difficult to bring good information from the field to the sideline. And that's why it's so important to have coaches up here in the press box looking down. Very often, they can be much more objective about what's happening on the field.
And it's just true in basketball. On the bench or in the baseball dugout, those are the worst seats in the house. Mark Wilson replacing Jim Plunkett, the veteran who has performed more than one miracle. And there's Jim, the former Stanford star, won the Heisman back in 1970, was drafted #1 by the Patriots. Injured so many times with New England, traded to San Francisco, finally given up for lost, and he found a new home with the Raiders and took them to a couple of Super Bowls. 3 seconds, 2 seconds left, and 1 second, and they'll have a chance for a final play since the clock stops on the possession change. The way the Patriots responded on that kickoff, one would think they're not going to take any chances on one long play.
I don't think they're going to risk anything here down on their own 20. I think you'll just see them sit on the ball here. There's Les Steckel, who calls the plays, quarterback coach, receiver coach for the Patriots, standing next to Barry, the former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, it's had some interesting flows the first 30 minutes. The Patriots on the board first after an early turnover. Then the Raiders scoring 17 unanswered, only to find New England coming back to tie it. And then a field goal in the final seconds, giving the Raiders the advantage at the intermission. Los Angeles Raiders 20, the New England Patriots 17. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.